Hello my friends, welcome to the review of ATLYSS patch 1.6.0. I'm First Hour, the one and only time villain VTuber, and this patch is massive, so let's get through it. Steam Cloud integration added. This may take a minute to go into full effect if it's not available yet. Finally, Steam saves are here, no more local saves checking needed. Reworked saving, backup saving with a save and quit "Are you sure?" prompt. As you can see on my screen, this is some simple dialogue added just to make sure you're actually quitting and saving correctly. Loading into lobbies no longer does a server-client remote call for loading quests and inventory, since they are client-side parameters anyways. This should help with ease of connection, I think. Equipped items no longer take up inventory slots. Do not be alarmed if your inventory seems emptier. This has been a want for a while because inventory space, as you can see, is quite small. Sometimes on Grove runs you run out of space if you're stopping to get all the items to sell later. Performance boost on inventory, refactoring how the item cells function. Great, although I don't think I ever experienced any slowdown at all, so maybe this is kind of like a code refactoring performance issue. The ban list no longer resets when starting a new lobby. This is great because rebanning the same people over and over again is annoying. Added a callback for attempting to join friends lobbies that are full, taking you back to the main menu. Before you would just get kicked out immediately with no indication. Public passworded lobbies will no longer require a password if your friend was the host on Steam. I wonder if this is a bad thing because there are people who would use this just to get into servers they shouldn't be in. But I think for the most part this is fine. Just be careful with who you are friends with on Steam. Added a 0.005 to a 0.285 second buffer to players when they are attacked, allowing enemies in large groups to attack in a more uniform fashion rather than being sporadic or confusing. Bosses ignore this. I'm not really sure I can ever notice this, but this might come into play with future content that have larger waves of enemies. Bell's persistent damage now provide heavy damage, but explodes after 3 hits for generic bells, crypt call, wooden bell, etc. This is mainly for ability damage calculations, and I think that it's implied to be a slight buff. Mana flow now has 5 ranks instead of 3. Thank the Lord, many times it's not worth it to just wait for your mana to regen. Instead, just pop a mana pot and you're good to go. This should help with being a consistent source of mana without needing to rely on potions. Decrease the cast time for Flux Bolt. Nice buff for Flux Bolt because it was lacking a bit in consistent DPS. Added a trigger message callback when you kill a person in PvP. Example, you fragged X. As you can see, this is a nice little notification for killing someone. It should be noted that if you die, it won't say who killed you, leaving a little bit of mystery there. Remove the AFK messages in the chat box when people go AFK or return from being AFK, decreasing the traffic on the chat box. This used to show a bit, now it just shows AFK on the character when they are sitting. This is really useful in big servers because if you have a lot of people going AFK or out of AFK, it kind of just spams the chat box. Added shift-click shortcut for equipping. Hey, he's making it easy for us. This is a really nice change. Vanity has its own layer for visibility. This makes a little bit more intuitive sense in how you are showing off your gear, but I don't think it really changes much. Enoch given a repeatable level 1 quest to kill mini geists in the catacombs. This new quest is called Killing Tomb, and you need to kill 10 mini geists and 2 normal geists for that. It gives you a small amount of experience and 100 crowns. Decreased kill count requirements for several Enoch quests. Oh, thank goodness, some of the repeatable quests in this game are a little bit tedious. Refactored weapon damage scaling, it now goes up endlessly at a low percent of the respective power stat. This is a big change, and I don't 100% understand the attribute system myself, but before this patch, there was a max amount of percent damage you could get from increasing your stats. For example, like with strength, if you go beyond something like 40, it doesn't matter to your damage, it just is a max cap. That seems to be no longer the case, which means all strength builds might actually exist now, leaving you with almost no HP. So it's kind of cool, and I really like this change because if you think about it, it's going to allow people to min-max whatever they want and have to trade and deal with the consequences if they choose to do that build. Added an increased defensive effectiveness against weapon damage. Skill damage retains as it was. This should be a boost to people's defensiveness, resulting in everyone being slightly tankier against melee, but against skills, you're still taking all that raw damage. Added global nickname system. Regardless the character you play as, the global nickname will appear under your character name tag. This is so cool. Instead of needing to name your character somewhat similar like I was doing, you can have a sort of account nickname that you can go and use between servers. I do wonder a little bit on how he plans to defeat skinwalking. For example, if someone takes your name and goes into another server and says inappropriate things, How do you know it was actually that person? This isn't really a concern right now, but it is something to think about later on where you're actually having account bounds and account systems standard in most MMOs. Added skill icons to the skill scroll item data entries for better transparency. We now have little icons on the scroll, as you can see. Revised the Sanctum Catacombs platforming segments and enemy arenas. They added a little platform here, so it's easier to jump. Increased health boost % on enemies for every nearby player. This is nice. It should make dungeons a little bit slower for people because right now you can go very fast through Grove. And it should also later on impact how you're actually tackling waves of enemies, and it can actually be dangerous for you if you're ever caught in that situation. Added a distance scaling element to party indicators and PvP emblems that appear over players' heads to better see where they are. As you can see, the triangles for your party are far bigger, and I'm sure the same would be for the PvP emblems. Added a Who tab menu hotkey tutorial in the Outer Sanctum to teach new players that they can make a party with other players in multiplayer. This is good for people who may not understand how to get into multiplayer and make parties. Fix the Kobold armor feat disappearing from camera distance / angle. Fix Kobold forehead halo not appearing on some horn variants. The only thing I ever noticed was the forehead halo. It never appeared after character creation until this update, so I'm glad that it's back. Adjusted the condition server sync client prediction display, the condition icons above your skill hotbar. I am not really too sure what this is referring to. I've never seen it, and in my options there is no setting to display this. I'm on servers with somewhat bad lag frequently and have never seen it either. Is there supposed to be a condition bar somewhere else? Like, is there supposed to be a health bar next to the condition showing me the sync or the prediction or something like that? Weapon quick swapping is now near instant like it once was, additionally fixing many bugs that came along with it at that time. I kinda like the delay, but this is the way the dev wants it to be. It provides a way easier way to swap to ranged weapons, which is nice for PvP. Devious Signet cooldown reverted back to what it was before. This ability is for bandits and increases evasion, crit strike, and max stamina. Given this patch's changes, I think the bandit seems to be in a pretty balanced place right now. Summoning the Slime Diva now requires 4 slain Slimex rather than 8 in her arena at the Affold Terrace. This results in her faster summoning, and I'm not entirely sure why this was changed, but hey, this is cool. Go get the Diva crown, you will like it. Siphon Leech no longer bleeds through blocked or missed hits. Siphon Leech is a caster's survivability spell. It's very useful to heal up as you deal damage, and it looks like a bug got fixed for it, so great. Added a minute and second prediction counter for the condition icons that appear above the skill hotbar. The time is now added, so that's nice. Fixed a bug with jump attacking. Jump attacks now cap current jumps up to the maximum. I'm not sure I ever encountered this bug at all or just didn't notice it. I've never been able to jump attack, then jump attack again mid-air. Fixed persistent damage outputs on polearm, heavy melee, katars, and melee spinning jump attacks. This is similar persistent damage fixes as well with the bell, but for melee spinning attacks. I view this as a slightly buff, as I suppose something wasn't quite working correctly all this time for it. Increased collider damage of the heavy melee jump attack land hitbox. Oh, this is going to be great. There have been many times where I slightly missed something that I think I should hit, so now warriors are even more deadly. Pressing escape while in the host console menu should properly close it, and it does indeed work, as it's supposed to now. Typing in /help in the host console menu should now display all the available commands properly. As you can see, it does indeed list out all the commands, although interestingly, when I tried this at first, it seemed to not have worked, so reopening it and typing it makes it work. Support skills such as Restore and Imbue should no longer affect players that aren't in the same party as the caster in PvP arenas. Restore heals other players, and Imbue increases max mana and magic power. While in Arena, it would be hilarious if casting Restora and it healed an enemy, so this bug fix is absolutely essential. Movement speed parameter should have permanently reset itself while the player is dead. Any other bugs regarding movement speed has not been addressed fully yet. This seems like a little silly coding bug. I've never noticed movement while dead. Hopefully the other movement speed bugs are easy too. Added an item drop server-side buffer to prevent clients from dropping items at rapid speeds. This is pretty cool, and as you can see on my video here, I'm just dropping a bunch of cakes, so I guess there's sort of a buff from stopping people trying to blow up the server doing that. Various bug fixes and exploit fixes. Well, this is ambiguous, but hey, that's great. Fix disconnection issues while getting hit by a hazard, spikes, spinning blades, etc. It was attempting to check for something that didn't exist on death callback. This is referring to the spinning blades in somewhere like the catacombs, and when you get hit by them, I assume something was causing a disconnect. Well, that's all for these patch notes. This is a giant patch and the biggest we've had so far for the public release. Thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more patch videos as they release. You'll have to forgive the quality for this video because I am sick right now. Bye bye.